Red Dead Redemption 2 delivers one of the most emotionally grounded stories ever told in an open-world game. Set in a dying Wild West, the game follows Arthur Morgan, an outlaw struggling between loyalty to his gang and his own sense of right and wrong. The open world feels alive, with NPCs remembering your actions, wildlife behaving naturally, and random events shaping the journey. The story unfolds slowly, allowing relationships to grow and characters to feel real. Every mission adds weight to Arthur's internal conflict, making even small moments feel meaningful. The world reacts to the story instead of distracting from it, which keeps immersion strong. On Xbox, it runs beautifully and remains a benchmark for narrative-driven open worlds, where the story feels inseparable from exploration and player choice. The Witcher 3 is known for its deep storytelling and morally complex world. You play as Geralt of Rivia, a monster hunter navigating war, politics, and personal bonds while searching for someone important to him. The game's greatest strength lies in its side quests, many of which feel like complete short stories with emotional endings. Player choices often have delayed consequences, making decisions feel heavy and realistic. The world is dark, grounded, and filled with believable characters who remember your actions. On Xbox, The Witcher 3 stands as one of the finest examples of how open-world design can enhance narrative depth instead of distracting from it. Fallout New Vegas offers one of the most flexible story systems in gaming history. Set in a post-nuclear wasteland, the story revolves around competing factions fighting for control of the region. What makes it special is player freedom. Dialogue choices, alliances, and actions directly shape the outcome of the story. The game rarely forces a moral direction, allowing players to define their own version of right and wrong. Side quests often explore dark humor, politics, and survival, adding layers to the world. Even today, New Vegas remains a benchmark for open-world storytelling where player choice truly matters. Cyberpunk 2077 delivers a personal and emotional story set inside a detailed futuristic city. You play as V, a mercenary whose life changes after a single mission goes wrong. The narrative focuses on identity, survival, and the cost of ambition. Night City feels alive, filled with stories happening beyond the main quest. Side missions often dive deep into character relationships and personal struggles, making them feel important rather than optional. Player decisions influence dialogue, relationships, and endings. After major updates, the game now offers a strong narrative experience on Xbox, driven by atmosphere, writing, and memorable characters. Assassin's Creed Valhalla tells a Viking-era story about leadership, loyalty, and building a future in a hostile land. You play as Ivor, leading a clan from Norway to England in search of stability and power. The story unfolds through regional arcs, each focusing on political alliances and personal conflicts. This structure makes the world feel divided yet alive. Mythology blends naturally with historical storytelling, adding mystery without losing realism. Player choices affect relationships and outcomes, giving weight to decisions. On Xbox, Valhalla offers a long, immersive narrative for players who enjoy slow-burn storytelling in vast open worlds. Elden Ring takes a very different approach to storytelling compared to most open-world games. Instead of long cutscenes or constant dialogue, the story is delivered through exploration, environment design, item descriptions, and brief character interactions. You play as a Tarnished, returning to the lands between to restore a broken order. The world feels ancient, tragic, and mysterious, with every ruined castle and fallen kingdom hinting at past events. The open world encourages curiosity rather than direction, allowing players to discover the story at their own pace. Many characters have personal goals and hidden motives, and their stories often end in quiet tragedy rather than victory. Bosses are not just obstacles, but symbols of power, corruption, or ambition. This subtle form of storytelling makes every discovery feel earned. On Xbox, Elden Ring stands out as an open-world game that trusts players to engage deeply with its world without holding their hand. Starfield is Bethesda's most ambitious open-world story experience, taking players beyond a single planet and into space. You play as a member of Constellation, a group searching for answers about mysterious artifacts and humanity's future. The story focuses on exploration, discovery, and personal choice rather than non-stop action. Factions play a major role, each offering different philosophies, conflicts, and outcomes depending on your decisions. Companions have their own beliefs and react to your actions, making choices feel personal. Side quests often explore themes like identity, ambition, and morality, adding depth to the universe. The open-ended structure allows players to shape their own narrative, whether they focus on diplomacy, combat, or exploration. As an Xbox-exclusive title, Starfield represents Microsoft's vision for large-scale, player-driven storytelling in open-world games. Far Cry 5 tells a disturbing and atmospheric story set in rural America. You play as a law enforcement officer fighting against a powerful cult that has taken control of an entire region. The story explores themes of manipulation, fear, and blind loyalty. The main villains are deeply developed, each representing a different form of control over the population. The open world reinforces the narrative by constantly reminding you that the cult is watching and reacting to your actions. Story events often interrupt exploration, creating tension and unpredictability. Side missions reveal how ordinary people are affected by the cult's influence, making the conflict feel personal. On Xbox, Far Cry 5 stands out for blending open-world freedom with a dark, story-driven experience that feels intense and unsettling throughout. Dragon Age Inquisition offers a large-scale fantasy story focused on leadership, power, and responsibility. You play as the Inquisitor, a figure suddenly placed at the center of a world-threatening crisis. The narrative balances epic events with personal character stories, making the experience feel grounded. Companions are a major strength, each with detailed backstories, personal quests, and strong opinions about your decisions. Dialogue choices influence relationships, alliances, and political outcomes. The open areas allow exploration, but the story remains the driving force behind progression. Player choices shape the fate of nations, not just individuals. On Xbox, Inquisition remains one of the best examples of how open-world structure can support deep, character-driven storytelling in a fantasy setting. Watch Dogs 2 presents a modern open-world story centered on technology, surveillance, and digital control. Set in a detailed version of San Francisco, the game follows Marcus Holloway, a skilled hacker targeted by a powerful monitoring system. The story focuses on exposing corruption and fighting corporate influence through intelligence rather than brute force. Characters feel natural and relatable, giving the narrative a grounded tone. Missions often allow multiple approaches, encouraging creativity and player expression. Side activities tie directly into the story, reinforcing the game's themes. The open world feels vibrant and alive, filled with small details that support immersion. On Xbox, Watch Dogs 2 stands out as a story-driven open-world game that feels modern, relevant, and surprisingly thoughtful.